For nearly 3 decades, the name John Benet Ramsey has refused to fade. Every few years, the case resurfaces, dragging the same unanswered questions back into the spotlight. But this time, something feels different. A Netflix documentary drops. New DNA technology reopens old evidence. And suddenly, the internet locks onto a name no one expected, pulling a modern political figure into one of the most infamous mysteries in American history. The John Benet case never really went cold in the public's mind. From the start, it was chaos. A ransom note written inside the house. No signs of forced entry. A crime scene contaminated almost immediately. Media pressure exploded, and before investigators could stabilize the situation, the narrative spun completely out of control. The Ramsey family became suspects in the court of public opinion long before any conclusions were reached, and once doubt takes hold, it never fully lets go. Years later, science complicated the story even more. In 2008, advanced DNA testing revealed the presence of an unidentified male profile on John Benet's clothing. That discovery officially cleared her parents and brother, shifting the focus toward an unknown intruder. But instead of closing the case, it reopened old wounds. If the family didn't do it, then who did? And why had the investigation gone so wrong from the very beginning? That uncertainty is exactly what the Netflix documentary reignited in late 2024. Viewers watched investigators admit to early mistakes, saw evidence mishandled, and learned that a grand jury had once voted to indict John Benet's parents, only for the charges to be quietly shelved without the public knowing for more than a decade. The documentary didn't provide closure, it created friction, and friction is fuel for the internet. Almost immediately after it aired, Boulder police reported a flood of new tips. People were rewatching old footage, re-examining photos, and revisiting theories most had forgotten. But then the conversation took an unexpected turn, because around the same time, another tragedy pushed a different name into the national spotlight. After the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk in 2025, his widow, Erica Kirk, stepped into a far more visible role. She became a public leader, delivered speeches, and appeared regularly online. And that's when TikTok did what TikTok does best. Users began freezing frames, comparing screenshots, and asking a question that spread faster than anyone could control. Why does she look so familiar? Side-by-side images flooded social media. People pointed to facial features, the shape of the eyes, a dimple on the cheek, the proportions of the smile. On their own, none of it meant much, but the internet doesn't operate on restraint. When users realized that John Benet would be in her mid-30s today and Erica Kirk is roughly the same age, the speculation accelerated instantly. Then came the pageant connection. John Benet was a child beauty queen. Erica Kirk went on to win Miss Arizona USA in 2012. For many online sleuths, that wasn't coincidence. They argued that pageant culture isn't something you just stumble into later in life. To them, it felt like continuity. A skill set carried forward, a path resumed rather than discovered. That's when the theory crossed from curiosity into something darker. Internet detectives began scanning old photos from John Benet's pageants, zooming into backgrounds, faces half hidden behind crowds. And one name kept surfacing in whispers. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's associate. The claim wasn't proof, but the suggestion alone was enough to push the theory into uncomfortable territory. Fuel was added when users discovered that the Ramsey family and Maxwell had, years apart, used the same public relations firm during separate media storms. On paper, that could mean nothing. Large firms represent many high-profile clients. But online, context doesn't matter as much as implication. To conspiracy-minded viewers, it felt like another dot in a picture they were already convinced existed. As the theory grew, so did its reach. It wasn't just true crime forums anymore. Political spaces picked it up. Culture pages debated it. And when Nancy Grace addressed the speculation publicly without immediately dismissing it as nonsense, the internet interpreted hesitation as validation. Even silence became evidence. At the same time, attention shifted back to Charlie Kirk's death. In the weeks before he was killed, he had been making increasingly controversial statements, touching on intelligence agencies, Epstein, and geopolitical power structures. None of that proves anything, but after a high-profile death, people search for meaning. And when meaning isn't obvious, speculation rushes in to fill the gap. Erica Kirk became the center of that storm. Her privacy around her children, completely understandable given the circumstances, was reframed online as secrecy. Her faith-based messaging was reinterpreted as coping. Every public appearance was slowed down, analyzed, and stripped of context. The more she tried to move forward, the more the internet pulled her backward. Meanwhile, real movement was happening in the actual John Benet investigation. Boulder police confirmed they were re-examining evidence using cutting-edge forensic technology, unavailable in the 1990s. Thousands of tips, hundreds of interviews, and decades of data were being digitized and reviewed. JonBenet's father, now in his 80s, has publicly pushed investigators to exhaust every scientific option left. And this is where reality reasserts itself. Official records confirm JonBenet's death. There was a body, there was an autopsy, medical findings showed fatal injuries consistent with homicide. Law enforcement and forensic experts have repeatedly stated there is no credible evidence that she survived that night. Those facts matter, even when they're inconvenient to a compelling narrative. But facts alone don't stop theories anymore, especially in an era where distrust in institutions runs deep, where past investigative failures still sting, and where social media rewards the most provocative interpretation, not the most accurate one. This theory didn't spread because it was proven. It spread because it felt emotionally unresolved. At its core, this isn't really about whether Erica Kirk is John Benet Ramsey. It's about a public that never got closure, a system that failed early, and an internet trained to believe that the biggest truths are always hidden. When mystery meets modern amplification, speculation doesn't just survive, it thrives. Whether this theory is pure internet fantasy or a reflection of deeper cultural distrust, one thing is clear. The John Benet case still haunts the collective conscience, and in today's world, once a story finds new oxygen online, it doesn't rest quietly again. Sometimes the most unsettling part isn't the mystery itself, it's how easily we're pulled into it.